Behold, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye shall be blind with his glory.
This technology has been around since the first civilization. It's not new. It's been around since
this world began, before this generation, this era. Airplanes and helicopters ain't nothing new.
I love
The thing that is probably more like weak prototype technology, off-brand shit compared to what the I already got.
Okay. I'd first like to give all praises to Master Yahweh and the most powerful one himself, Lord Yahweh, the Father of the man y'all ignorantly call Jesus Christ. No, the Most High created everything. He regulated all knowledge and ordered the distribution of it to all of Adam. The true name for mankind. Through the angels, the messengers, the Hebrew Israelites of today.
Now what people don't understand is Adam is mankind. So he ordered the distribution
of knowledge
to mankind through the first ruler of the world, who was called Adam. And man was named after him. And through the heavenly angels and the Hebrew Israelites of today, who was basically the rulers of this world during this era, the sons of the Most High.
Our people and the rest of these mortal people are not the same. We are the angels that fell from Godhood. They are not us.
There's nothing new under the sun, including this technology. You bring that on Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. Everything that happened will happen again. The same things that are done are the same things that will be done. There is no new thing under the sun. You might think it's new, but this technology been around longer than the birth of these nations. We know that Ecclesiastes 1 and 10. If there is anything where someone might say, see, this is new, that thing has always been there since ancient times. It was here before us. Now, the vehicles the Most High rides in modern day terms, would be called so-called UFOs. But we know the identity of them, so for us, they'll be like IFOs. You know, identified flying objects versus like unidentified, because we know the identity of these things.
These are his flying vehicles. He got multiple different versions of them, and they're upgrades to everything we got.
He got rockets, he got starships, he got helicopters, he got them flying saucers for them jets and shit. He got cars, shit, he got some flying cars, some flying vehicles. Like, none of this technology is really on par with this, and that's what these niggas trying to prepare for. Now, you might think a nigga crazy for saying like, Most High had these UFOs, or whatever, the UFOs in the Bible, but I'm about to prove it right now. Jeremiah 4 and 13. Look, he will rise up like the clouds. His chariots look like whirlwinds, and his horses are faster than eagles. We're screwed because we're spoiled.
Now, if you look at what can fly, a ship can fly.
You know what I'm saying? What's faster than the eagle? A horse don't sit right there and fly faster than no eagle, but a plane can, or some type of flying vehicle can.
So that's one example of those UFOs is being called flying chariots.
That's the same thing as what we got right now. We just call that shit cars. A chariot is the same thing, it's just a vehicle. So they really just flying vehicles. We call them chariots. That in the past, because in the ancient days, that's what we could call them. In modern day times, we would just call them some type of flying vehicle, because a chariot and a car is the same shit. The same way that a chariot, you used to use them horses to make them wraps and shit, swing and whatnot. You used to sit in the back, and you used to ride on them. The same way that's a modern car. And what the cars use horsepower, so it's a vehicle. So when they used to say flying chariots, they didn't know what the fuck to call it. They just called it a vehicle, because the word vehicle wasn't been around not that long. No.
This wisdom-built technology comes from him as well. It's actually one of our greatest powers.
It's at least right now, since we're mortals, because wisdom is pretty much the main power we got, because he wanted us to understand like in this world, like to use our minds, because the weakest man on the planet had a mind. He just thought for change, was able to take down the gods. So now our punishment is to learn and actually think for once. So this day and age, he said, like he said, our people suffer from lack of knowledge. It's because we stupid as fuck. So we wanted our people to stop being dumb. So in this age, this world, we ain't mortal gods no more. Right now we mortals, and until we get our senses together, and we're gonna keep reincarnating and going through this shit over and over again. He has a vast and normal army of these things, and they are massive as shit. Like they big as hell. So he's calling flying chariots, flying vehicles. When they didn't have the term chariot, they used to call them flying clouds, whirlwinds, because when they used to come down and scoop niggas up, they used to create a whirlwind. Kind of like when a helicopter is flying over somebody's head, you know, it created like a miniature whirlwind or tornado or something. Or they used to call them clouds of lightning because they used to see like these ships coming out the clouds, and they used to see the electricity flowing from it, but they ain't had a distinction between electricity and lightning. So they used to just call it clouds of lightning, or flying rolls, horses, and in the beginning of time it was called cherubs. So the proper term would more than likely be cherubs than chariots, and they are described in detail as flying wheels. Sing to God, sing praises to His name, raise a song to Him who rides through the heavens by His name, Yahweh, and celebrate in front of Him. From 68:17, there were 20,000 chariots from God, even thousands of angels among them that came from Sinai into the sacred place. So it was like flying ships. It was like 20,000 ships, flying ships that came down from the heavens, and it was like they basically said they looked like black men. These angels looked like black men, and it was like
Slip space rupture detected.
Gamma station control, reading multiple pings below the orbital defense
Slip
grid.
space rupture detected.
Yeah, we're picking up anomalies too. Are you reading it? Multiple covenant signatures.
Slip space
Does anyone have a name? They're everywhere. Can't be happening. Must be the whole damn covenant
Slip
fleet.
space rupture detected.
and the Most High God, Yahweh, was with him. So that means at one point we was a very technologically advanced race. This technology is very ancient. This ain't no new shit. Nobody invented nothing. All this shit is old and if anything, being reintroduced, like the Jordans or like J's. Like, you know how Michael Jordan keep introducing shoes. Young boys keep thinking they making some new shit, or they come across some new shit, but they ain't no new shit. That's the same shoes as Jordan. This technology is the same technology from ancient times. That wheel just got upgraded. It's the same fucking wheel. It's the same vehicle. It's the same car. All right. Now, if you don't believe me, like the definition of chariot is a Hebrew word. Rakab, which means a team, chariot, charity, millstone, riders, or chariots. Upper millstone, as in riding on lower millstone. So it means just riding out. So it's basically just describing a vehicle. And if you look up H7392, or Strong's H73 and 92, the root for that comes from, which means like to mount, or it's talking about the saddle. So he's trying to talk about how like these niggas was sitting in the seat, and then they said it was a wheel within the wheel inside this machine. They said they noticed the dude had like a wheel next to him, so that was a steering wheel. So you know he was using the steering wheel to fly that thing. And if you can find that H4817, another word for chariot would be chariot, place to ride, riding seat. It's a saddle. 2 terms for saddle. You can use Rakab or Markab.
Salakia. Now, let's go into the description of it. Ezekiel 1:4. And I looked, and seeing the whirlwind coming from out of the north, a huge cloud with fire enfolded, and brightness was around it. Out of the middle of it was the color of amber that came from the middle of the fire. Right? So let's see what the beings that was solid than that thing look like, what they look like. Because we already know these celestial, they say angels drive these things. And angels had like brown, bronze, burnished bronze skin, you know, kind of look like a Negro American. But, you know, to further confirm that these so-called angel or spirits look like people, we about to prove it in Ezekiel 1 and 5. Also, inside the middle, they look like 4 living creatures. In their appearance, they look like men. Right? So the appearance of these guys look like men. Now, people keep thinking about these bird wings, but they were just trying to explain like how technologically advanced it was. And every one had 4 faces. So when you look at the windows, you know, like how a window had like four windows, four windows, 4 faces. Or like when you have a helmet and you can see on all sides. And everyone had 4 wings. Now, you know, it's not talking about literal bird wings. Like, but what kind of technology can be put on your back or can make you fly? And it said their legs were straight. So their legs were real straight. And the soles of their calves were like the sole of capsules. So that sound like the machine legs. And they sparkled like the color of burnished bronze. And they all went straight forward. Wherever the spirit would go, they went. And they didn't turn when they moved. Verse 13, as for what the living creatures look like. Now pay attention to this. This is what it said like. That our people, what they used to be like. If you ever watch Dragon Ball Z, right? This would look really familiar. Especially if you ever seen that scene where Krillin get killed and he fights Frieza. You know, he about to turn Super Saiyan for the first time. And he said, as for what the living creatures look like, they look like burning coals of fire, like a lamp with fire moving back and forth around the living being. So it was like it was giving off energy. And the fire was bright. They looked like a flame. And the fire was bright and lightning came out of it. And it was giving off electricity. Like now, when they got outside the vehicles, pay attention to how fast they move. Ezekiel 1:14, the living creatures ran back and forth like flashes of lightning. Now, as I watched the creatures, I seen a wheel on the earth next to them. So when they got back in the vehicle, as they was about to get back into this flying, whatever they call UFO, but this flying ship, he said he noticed a wheel next to him right when they was opening the door. Like he basically seen the wheel. Now as I watched the creature, I seen a wheel on the earth. So when they landed next to all 4 faces of the creatures, so next to the windows, he was like, he was looking at them while they was getting in the vehicle, and he was looking in the windows, and he was like, yo man, there's a fucking wheel up in there. He's like, there's another wheel up in there. And the appearance of the wheels and their craftsmanship was like the color of beryl. And all 4 of them looked similar. And their appearance and craft was like a wheel within a wheel. That's a steering wheel. And then the whole ship itself was a wheel. So you were seeing wheel within the wheel. But to further prove that this was a steering wheel, we'll go to Ezekiel 1:17. When they moved, so when he moved that steering wheel, they went any of the 4 directions, but they didn't turn when they moved. And the rings of the wheels were tall and frightening. So now he's actually talking about the ship, and there were eyes all over the rings, all 4 wheels. So it's like he got a chance to see the little lights and the little cameras to see what's going on around the ships and shit. And when the immortal creatures move, or the living creatures move, the wheels moved next to them, and when the mortal creatures floated above the earth, the wheels floated up as well. Right?
Baby, show us what you do.
So basically he's saying like, so whenever these creatures moved that thing, this thing started moving. When it moved this way, that thing it started moving the same way it was making it move. Everywhere it turned, that's where it moved. So if you move that thing that way, it turned that way. If you move that way, it turned that way. Without the ship actually needing to look around. See, because they was inside the saucer, and and it says Ezekiel 20, 1 and 20. Wherever the wind would go, they went, because that's where their spirit would go. So that's where the beings inside, the man inside would go. And the wheels were against them, floating up above, because the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. And then he basically describes like the pods, like the machinery, because he was trying to say it was like water. And then he heard like a whole army inside some of the ships. Ezekiel 1 and 24. And when they moved, I heard the sounds of their wings. So you know how when a plane flying around, kind of like that right there, that you hear in the background, if you can hear it, and like the noise of numerous waters, you know what I'm saying, like water being shot out of something, like that. And like the voice of the most powerful, and the voice of speech. So he was hearing the ship basically like had like telecoms or whatever, and like speaking, you know what I'm saying, like the sound of an army. And when they stopped, they let down their wings. There's even verses on how our King David, actually had the blueprint to build one of these flying starships, and that was called like a cherubim. And it was like the First Chronicles 28 and 18. And for the blueprint to the altar of incense, and the cherubim that spread his wings to protect the ark of the covenant of Yahweh should be the weight of refined gold. Psalms 104 and 3. Who lay the beams of his chambers in the waters, who makes the thick clouds his chariots. So he made these clouds like his ships. Because these basically float on the wind. You know what I'm saying? Basically they're saying like these ships are basically moving on the wind. And the Most High will make his angels like the winds and his assistants a flame of fire. So this is more like talking about things in a twofold aspect. For one, he'll give you a ship, or you can fly. You know what I'm saying? Weapons or power are like flame of fire, but it's also talking about how he'll actually, in the future, make our bodies to the point where we can our genetic makeup will be where we can move faster than the wind, and like we giving off flaming energy, stuff like that, like Dragon Ball Z characters and stuff of that nature. Here's a story that deals with the king in 2 Kings. It deals with Prophet Elijah before he got taken up by these ships, by these chariots, well, flying vehicles, because chariot back then that is just another word for vehicle. 2 Kings 2 and 1. And the time came when Master Yahweh was about to take up Elijah into heaven by a whirlwind. So Elijah went with Elisha from Gilgal. Verse 2. And Elijah said to Elisha, stay here, I'm begging you, because the master is sending me to Bethel. But Elisha said, as the master lives, and as you live, I will not leave you. So they went down to Bethel. And the sons of the prophets who were at Bethel came out to Elisha and said to him, do you know that Master Yahweh is going to take away your chief from over you today? And he said, yes, I know this. Keep it to yourself. And Elijah said to him, Elisha, stay here, I'm begging you, because Master Yahweh is sending me to Jericho. But Elisha said, as the Master lives, and as you live, I will not leave you. So they went to Jericho, and the sons of the prophets who were at Jericho came out to Elisha and said to him, do you know that Master Yahweh is going to take away your chief from over you today? And he said, yes, I know this, keep it to yourself. And Elijah said to Elisha, stay here, I'm begging you, because the Master is sending me to Jordan. But Elijah said, as the Master lives, and as you live, I will not leave you. So they went on. And 50 of the sons of prophets went and stood to view them from far away. And while the two of them stood by the Jordan, then Elijah took his cloak and wrapped it together and struck the water, and it divided here and there. Then the two of them walked over to the dry ground. And the time came when they were walking over that Elijah said to Elisha, ask, what do you want me to do for you before I get taken away from you? Elijah said, please, let a double share of your spirit be on me. Then he said, you've asked for a difficult request. Regardless, if you can see me when I'm taken from you, then it will be given to you. If you can't, then it won't happen. And then it happened as they continued on and talked, when, look, suddenly a chariot of fire with fiery horses appeared and separated the both. And then Elijah went up to the heavens in a whirlwind. And Elijah seen it, and he cried out, my father, the chariot of Israel and their horsemen. Then he seen him no more, and grabbed hold of his own clothes and ripped them in two.